If you recall, I just left you running a value at risk simulation. So if I go back to the beginning of my spreadsheet, I will see I've got a portfolio in my sheet. This is, if I look at my European option tab, short 1,000 put options with a strike of 100 maturing in 1 year. If we recall, the delta is a positive 363. It's got a negative gamma, we're short the option. A negative vega, again, short the option. Positive rho, we make money if interest rates go up, and so on. So we can look at the value at risk. I just ran a simulation. We're calculating the 95th percentile, 1-day value at risk. We did 100,000 simulations. The volatility of the asset is 20%. The volatility of the asset is 100%. The volatility of the interest rate is 100%. The correlation between the asset and its volatility is positive 60%. The correlation between the asset and interest rates is 0%. The correlation between the volatility of the asset and interest rates is also 0. And we ended up with a value at risk of $619. So what this means is that 95% of the time, the P&L on our portfolio is bigger than negative $619, or 5% of the time we lose more than $619. Now this depends on this volatility parameter. I'm going to rerun the simulation, but I'm going to change the volatility to be negative 60%, and I want to see the change in our value at risk. So I'm going to pause the video, allow this to run, and then come back. So we'll click Simulate Value at Risk. You can see that it's running simulations, and I will pause and come back when it is finished. Okay, so we've just come back. We have run the value at risk. We changed the value at risk from positive 60% to negative 60%, and we see the value at risk has increased significantly. Now let's think about why that is the case. So let's look at our portfolio again. Look at this portfolio summary. This is a position with short put options. The delta is positive. The vega is negative. Right now, we have a negative correlation in our spreadsheet. We look at the value at risk, we can see that negative correlation. So we changed from a positive 60% to a negative 60% and saw a significant increase in value at risk. Let's think about which direction is bad when the stock moves. This is our delta and gamma. Delta dominates, so we've got a positive delta. So when the stock falls in value, we lose money. Now, when the stock falls in value, that correlation does what? That correlation is negative, so when the stock falls in value, in general, the volatility increases. We lose money because of our delta and our gamma. We lose money when the stock falls in value, but then we lose even more because of volatility increasing, because of that vega. So this is a position, because of our correlation being negative 60%, our losses due to the stock moving are compounded by the losses due to the volatility moving. Now, if we think about it with a positive 60% correlation, well, what happens? Again, when the stock falls in value, we lose money. But in this case, when the stock falls in value, the volatility decreases. The volatility decreases. We have a negative vega, means we make money. So if the correlation were positive in this particular position, the money we lose from stock price movements is offset by money we gain by volatility movements. Now what's interesting is this depends, again, the relationship between delta in this case and vega in this case depends on our position. If we change our position, Let's clear this position. Let's put in a short call option this time. We'll see that the delta and the vega have the same sign. Now, if the correlation were positive, losses due to the stock this time increasing would be compounded by the fact that volatility is also likely to increase and we lose even more money. If the correlation were negative, then we would see losses, again due to that stock increasing, would be offset because volatility we would expect to decrease. And so there's an interplay here in our value at risk and the various risk factors. And sometimes those risk factors interplay in a way which increases our overall risk, and sometimes they interplay in a way which decreases risk. They offset.